And the U.S. stock index futures fluctuated ahead of Wednesday's open as investors switched focus to the U.S. Central Bank. Around 5:55 a.m. Eastern Time, Dow futures rose 31 points, indicating a positive open of 16.27 points. The Nasdaq and the S&P 500 futures indicated a flat to upbeat start to the session for their respective markets. Now, the moves in pre-market trade come as traders await the conclusion of another policy meeting by the U.S. Federal Reserve. Investors expect the Fed to announce a quarter-point increase in interest rates. And markets will also be looking ahead to the press conference, where they will also be waiting to see what the central bank says on the current state of the economy. And switching focus to data at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, mortgage applications are due, followed by producer price index figures due out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Meantime, in earnings, Korn Ferry International is scheduled to publish its latest corporate results. Politics is, however, still likely to be on investors' mind as markets evaluate the outcome of a meeting between President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who both signed an agreement on Tuesday that committed to complete denuclearization. And in Asia, markets closed lower today as investors shifted their focus from the recently concluded U.S.-North Korea summit to the conclusion of the Federal Reserve's June meeting later in the day. In Australia, the S&P ASX 200 declined 0.51%. Greater China markets saw sharper losses. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index lost 0.99%. On the mainland, the Shanghai Composite fell 0.97%. The smaller Shenzhen Composite lost 1.58%. Japan's Nikkei 225, however, bucked the trend to edge up by 0.38%, finishing the day at 22,966.38 points. Away from the markets and back here in Africa, African Trade Insurance expects its annual insured trade and investment portfolio to double to $7 billion within 5 years, driven by new members including Ghana and Nigeria. The chief executive, George Otieno, said the annual portfolio would rise by $1 billion this year to $3.5 billion and double to about $7 billion by 2022. The investment risk insurer is owned by 14 African nations and other organizations such as the African Development Bank. It was formed in 2001 with World Bank support to offer insurance for large investment and financing projects against risks such as sovereign default, war, and insolvency to spur investment by companies and private equity into Africa. And Dutch shareholders have filed a lawsuit against Deloitte seeking damages for alleged failures in the accounting firm's vetting of the books to retailer Steenhoff International. Steenhoff, which expanded from a small local furniture retailer in South Africa into an international group, reported holes in its account 6 months ago, sending its shares tumbling and leaving it scrambling to pay its debt. The Netherlands Association of Retail Investors said it had filed a suit against Deloitte at the District Court of Rotterdam. The case is the Dutch legal equivalent of a class action suit under which it will try to hold the company, its directors, accountants, and possibly the banks that assisted it in its stock market listing responsible for damages. On Tuesday, its creditors agreed to give it more time to restructure €9 billion in debt. Holders of €2.7 billion in 3 convertible bonds backed a debt standstill agreement. And Democratic Republic of Congo state miner Gécamines will drop legal proceedings to dissolve a copper and cobalt joint venture with a subsidiary of Glencore plc after reaching a settlement with its partner that includes Gécamines getting a $150 million payment. Glencore unit Katanga Mining Limited said it had agreed a recapitalization plan for 75% owned Kamoto Copper Corporation with Gécamines, its joint venture partner, involving converting $5.6 billion of Kamoto's debt to equity to fix a capital shortfall. And South African miner Pfizer has deepened its exposure to Zimbabwe, saying it had bought a 26.8% shareholding in Karo Mining Holdings for $4.5 million. It also bought Chrome Business Saline in Zimbabwe in May. In a statement, Tarisa said the deal would give it access to an area covering 23,900 103 hectares on the Great Dyke of Zimbabwe, containing an estimated 96 million ounces in platinum group metals. And MTN Group, Africa's biggest mobile telecoms firm, is aiming to launch a mobile service in Namibia around the end of August. Currently, state-owned operator MTC dominates in Namibia, a country of 2 million people. Johannesburg-listed MTN has operated in Namibia for over 20 years, but has mainly provided internet services to financial institutions, wholesale customers, and logistics institutions. It already offers mobile services in other African countries, including South Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana, as well as Iran. And when we come back after the break, we'll look at the growing trend of electronic IPOs. So stay with us.